Zombies. That's what we're talking about. Brains. Zombies. We're not talking about Cesaro's first real opportunity at a main event and really pushing him as we've been asking for it seems, decades. Not talking about that. We're not talking about the great match with Bianca Belair and Bayley when Bianca's hair was used so well. Great frenetic match. Loads of really good action. Bayley using Bianca Belair's hair to pull her in for a ripcord to the Bayley to Bayley for a near two. And then in the end, Belair, who said, "Don't touch my hair," earlier on, using the hair to wrap around her to bring her in for the pin. Not talking about that. We're not talking about Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley to start when the match was absolutely knocked down and drag out and no energy wasted whatsoever. Energy from beginning to end. Rhea Ripley winning, pinning Asuka after some really good stuff, like a double superplex on Flair. Flair hitting a lovely float over DDT, double armed, really nice. Rhea Ripley getting the pin on Asuka, so Flair, of course, is protected. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the father and son stuff, which I personally didn't like, of Dominic getting hurt. "Oh, your ribs are really bad. I love you, son. I'll go and try and sort it out," with Dolph Ziggler and Rude. Are they really called the Dirty Dogs? I don't watch WWF very much, or WWE very much, so I haven't seen this. If they're called that, that's a really bad idea. Almost as bad idea as the bloody Zombies. So we're not talking about Rey Mysterio trying to do this 2-on-1 and then Dom coming back and, "Oh, my ribs are so bad, that spine buster has nearly hurt me." They're not hurting, though, when I jump off the top for a splash for the pin. Yeah, they won the titles. I'm not into the father and son thing, but a lot of people will be. We're not talking about that. Or the big beefcake mountain of the triple threat. Strawman versus McIntyre versus Lashley, which wasn't just, "I punch you, I chop you, I take a breather." It wasn't that. It wasn't a lumbering load of rubbish. There was actually some really good work in this, including Lashley being thrown into a rigged electrical circuit board and going missing. And Drew McIntyre powering up Strawman into a Michinoku driver. That is something special. And then Lashley coming back in the end, after he'd been hiding, to throw McIntyre out the ring, hit the spear on Strawman to win and to protect McIntyre, as should be done. Because you don't need to protect Strawman, because he ain't going anywhere. No one's talking about that. And no one is talking about the superb main event, which was given 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and none of it was wasted. At the beginning of it, I thought, I'm not sure these two styles are meshing, really, because Cesaro, who is supreme, has to bring his talent down, or his ring work anyway, down to meet Roman Reigns, who I don't think is a great grappler. I don't think he's athletic. I don't think he's a lumberer, but I don't think he's far from that. And I think Cesaro had to try and bring himself down to that level, to be honest. But there was some fantastic work, particularly after Cesaro hurt his arm. It was this arm, wasn't it? Was it this arm? This arm. This one. That's the one. There you go. That one. There. After he hurt it, falling out the ring. And then Roman worked on it. I tell you what, after Roman put his foot in it and pulled it from the ropes, just here, it didn't half look red. Or it were red raw. That was really good, really fed in. There's some lovely stuff from Cesaro. You know there's going to be. Corkscrew plancha. A wonderful moment where he'd hit so many moves, and then you get the situation with the guillotine. He gets out of that into a crossface from Cesaro. Roman rolls out of that into a guillotine. Cesaro gets out of that. It could have been a botch, actually. Roman puts it back on, and eventually Cesaro passes out. But before that, we'd had so many different near falls, lovely superplex, great work from both of them, actually. They were both really in there. It was a great main event. Of course, in the end, they put Rollins in there to come out and beat Cesaro up, so Roman didn't really get the chance to hold his belt up, and we know he's got problems at the top table. Someone's nicking his mashed potato, and you don't do that. Or his Aunt Bessie's, I'm telling you. So they cheapened it at the end, but really, the matches were great. And what are we talking about? Zombies. Because it's vertical integration time, ain't it? Because Wrestlemania Backlash is sponsored by Army of the Dead. It's a film coming out this year. So what have we got? Zombies. It's vertical integration, and this is what the WWE want. Not content with being sponsored by Snickers, it's a film in the mainstream. And Vince McMahon, in my view, is desperate to become mainstream, legitimate. This is why we've got the XFL failing twice. This is why we had the bodybuilding league all that time ago. This is why you've got wrestlers who make movies. And he must be looking at Dave Bautista now, and particularly The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and thinking, why could they not do that when they were with me? He wants to appear legitimate. Wrestling has a whiff about it. It's carny. And even though you make billions of pounds doing it, it's the other stuff that's interesting. So that vertical integration isn't just product placement, it's product destruction. I wasn't bothered about the match. I wasn't bothered what happened with The Miz and Damian Priest. I'm not bothered with either of them. I liked Priest when he was Punishment Martinez in ROH. I preferred him then, to be honest. And I've never really liked The Miz. I think he's all right. I see what he does. Nothing special. And there was nothing special in this match either. The most extraordinary thing was a sort of old school figure four, which very quickly was broken up by the zombie Lumberjacks. Just shoot them in the head, for God's sake. And they weren't real zombies. They were people who were, well, when I say real zombies, I mean zombies who were frightening. They were just walk-ons and extras who had tattered clothing and went, in the end, Morrison was dragged off by the zombies, Miz lost, and the zombies came to consume him, and hopefully we won't see him in a wrestling ring again. I can only hope. But you know what? This was an absolute shame. It was egregious in my view, because you had some really good matches there, not too many, and really good stuff. They were pulling their tripe out, as we call it in my area, to make us feel good, and wrestlers putting themselves at risk in the ring so that we could enjoy that. And all we can talk about is blooming zombies. It's a 3 out of 5. That's all you're getting. And you know what? All I can think of is brains. Well, maybe you should have used your brains, WWE, and junked this angle. Ta-ta.